Welcome to Boston, Massachusetts, one of the oldest cities in the United States. Founded in 1630, Boston played a pivotal role in the American Revolution and it attracts millions to its historical attractions like Faneuil Hall and the Boston Common. While Boston is known for its beautiful foliage, great colleges, and good hospitals, do you think it's a good idea to move to Boston? Well, I'm going to give you 5 reasons not to move to Boston. Number 5, the drug and opioid problem. If you watch my channel, you are aware of methadone mild. You'll see people in this area using right in the streets. And the worst part about it is it's very close to everything, including a jail. So when people get out of jail, they're right there in front of a world of drugs. And the opioid related death rate in Massachusetts is now more than twice the national rate. While fentanyl use has increased nationally, the spike has been even more pronounced in Massachusetts. In 2016, there were 1,550 fentanyl-related deaths, which is now up to 2,200, only up from 98 in 2013. So in a 3-year span, it jumped almost 1,400. Massachusetts has the second highest number of fentanyl-related law enforcement reports, only behind Ohio. While New England field officers feel that fentanyl is a greater threat to their region than any other part of the country, here you do see some cops do nothing and stand around and turn a blind eye to crime and to drug use. Check out this video.
Makes a disappointing list when it comes to overdoses.
New at 6, Boston 25 News reporter Jim Morelli is learning how teens are being impacted by drugs in our state.
It is a list in which the highly ranked can envy the low, and a new survey puts Massachusetts in the top tier when it comes to illicit drug problems, ranking 15th out of the 50 states and the District of Columbia, with West Virginia at the top of the list and Minnesota at the bottom. To come up with the state rankings, the surveyors looked at 3 main things: drug use and addiction, law enforcement, and the health issues associated with drug use, including rehab.
Despite the country's, best efforts to really combat things like drug use and especially the opioid epidemic, in conjunction with increasing numbers and the pandemic, we have seen this become a worse and worse problem.
Jennifer Knight-Levine heads the SAFE Coalition in Norfolk County, an organization that deals with substance abuse, particularly among teens. She was not surprised to see Massachusetts ranked so high.
Many folks were at home during the pandemic. Their access to doctors, access to support systems really decreased.
Most troubling, perhaps, the survey ranks Massachusetts second for teen drug use, just behind Vermont.
In Massachusetts, we're actually seeing the second highest percentage of teen illicit drug users in the past month at just around 12%. So that is definitely a high number and one that parents should be aware of.
Number 4, the traffic. Anyone who drives in Boston knows traffic is terrible. A new study says that the congestion here is some of the worst in the world. Transportation data company Enric says Boston traffic is the second worst in the United States and the 4th worst on the entire planet, according to its global annual traffic scorecard. The study found that Boston drivers lost about 134 hours of their lives sitting in traffic in 2022. They also said that traffic in the Boston area cost drivers an average of $2,270 in gas and wasted time. Rick Domino, CEO of A Better City, said, "We lose millions of dollars every day related to the wasted time that people spend in their vehicles. This is a huge strain on our economy." Number 3, the parking. Boston is a maze of winding and tortuous one-way streets, some of which are only 35 feet wide. It has a daytime population of 1.5 million. Recently, the city has incorporated new sidewalks and additional bike lanes. This has made the parking even more unavailable. And the meters in Boston change according to the time of day and where you are. So you may pay anywhere between $1.25 an hour to $3.75, depending on what part of town you're in. Most areas are residential parking after 6 o'clock. And if there's a snowstorm and you take a spot you didn't clean out, baby, you may come back to slashed tires, broken windows, scratched up car, anything. Bostonians, we do not play that. If you didn't clean out a spot, you better not take it.
And showing really just how serious things have become between drivers on snow-loaded streets out there. Tonight, one woman shows us the extreme damage that she's dealing with. Crystal Haynes has the latest case of snow rage in South Boston. Crystal.
Maria, it's park or be left out in the cold. And as this woman learned, if you lose your spot, it's very easy to lose your cool. In the parking war of Boston, the first line of defense is the space saver.
I was out there for 2.5 hours in a suit after work shoveling. And I can tell you that I would be very upset if somebody came and moved it and took my spot.
I've seen fights break out over spots. I've heard a lot of, nasty words being thrown around. Once you lose your spot, it's pretty much you've lost your spot for the winter.
A bucket, a cone, and no, that basket isn't for laundry. It's holding a parking spot that likely took hours to shovel out. The city sets a 48-hour guideline, but Mayor Marty Walsh says if you dug it out, the space is pretty much yours. But there's one rule.
You take somebody's spot and you put yourself in a pretty big risk of getting vandalized.
And that's what happened to Cassandra Alivello.
They didn't have anything saved here, so I figured I just got lucky and I parked.
Cassandra says she was staying with her boyfriend and woke up to this. A smashed windshield and the words "not okay" keyed into her car door.
I think we're all just tired of the snow, honestly, but no need to make it worse, at least on me. I'm not creating the snows.
Cassandra, the latest casualty in this snow rage-fueled parking war. And she tells us her boss had little sympathy for her. When she couldn't get to work, she was fired.
I have to find a new job, a new daycare for my daughter, and try to get my car fixed all at the same time.
Number 2, the transportation system. Chronic challenges confront the Boston area's public transportation system, we call the T, including aging infrastructure, frequent delays, breakdowns, escalating operating costs, and a seemingly endless run of high fares. Within the last year, we've had a red line derailment, an orange line train fire, and numerous delays for other reasons. Northeastern University experts blame years of deinvestment in buses, subways, and commuter rails on the problems. Check out this little video. Number 1, the rent and housing costs. The city ranks higher than the national average in every area, while transportation costs are just 11% over the national average, and groceries are just 9% higher. Goods and services are 29% higher in Boston. Even during the economic expansion from 2009 to early 2020, Greater Boston didn't build enough homes to keep up with demand. Meanwhile, housing prices increased 53% during this period, far outpacing household income growth. Too many of the cities and towns in Boston areas and places close to it have zoning regulations and other limitations on housing development. Boston's cost and the living index is 150%, which means the city is 50% more expensive than the national average. Boston home prices recently hit $605 on average for a single-family home. Brace yourself for high Boston rent prices. Boston is the third most expensive city in the U.S. for renters after San Francisco and New York. So how much is the average apartment rent in Boston? The average cost of rent in Boston is $3,179, more than double the U.S. average. And what's the reason for this? Low supply compared with high demand. So you come here, there's not much available. Zoning regulations in Boston, and Boston is a rich city. There's a large, affluent amount of renters, and that takes up about 11% of our renters are affluent, and they make at least $150,000. So to live here, you gotta have big bucks. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.